It's week 4 of our Halloween month-long special, but beware, there's a new face of evil, the Pumpkin Karver, who thinks every face is a work of art. We watched the Pumpkin Karver, so you don't have to. So you know what that means.
Horror, so bad and scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad and scary. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Marshall Hampton. With me today, sitting in for Aaron, who unfortunately could not be here due to family emergencies, is friend of the show and repeat guest, Mr. Chris Samples. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Marshall. How are you?
I am doing just fine. Although knowing we have to talk about this movie, The Pumpkin Karver, has forced me to turn to the bottle. Wow. Okay.
I hit the bottle pretty hard last night watching this, so I'm sticking with the Gatorade today.
So Pumpkin Karver, yeah, it was released on Halloween in 2006. It has a runtime of an even 90 minutes, and it was written by Robert Mann and Sheldon Silverstein, and is also directed by Robert Mann. The cast, not much to really make note of, with the exception of, I will say, Amy Weber, who plays the sister, Lynn. The only reason I bring her up is because she's a local girl. She was from Peoria, Illinois, so she's a nice Midwestern girl. And I know she's born in 1970, so
She did look a little old.
she looked older, but she still looked good for her. She looked really, because she did not look like she would be, 46 now?
Right.
And, but this was at this time, 20. So she would have been 36 or something at the time of this movie? Did not look that. She looked really great. And then the other person that I will mention, there's two other people I'll mention in the cast. One is Terrence Evans, who plays Old Man Ben Wickett. This guy has 72 credits to his name dating back to 1970.
Wow.
And he has horror connections. He played Old Monty in the 2003 remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then played the younger version of Monty again in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. So he's in 2 Chainsaw movies, and he was in Terminator 2. He played a tanker truck driver, so minor role, but he was in one of the best movies ever.
Right.
And he did an episode of The Incredible Hulk back in the 70s.
Like Lou Ferrigno?
Yeah, Lou Ferrigno's Hulk.
Nice.
There's a cameo by fitness guru and motivational speaker Tony Little at the end of the movie for people who might know who he is. And the only other person worth noting in the cast is Minka Kelly. She is adorable in this movie. To me, she's the only reason it really makes this movie watchable, because she's just so sweet and adorable and just cute. But apparently, she was a big deal for a while. She was listed on Maxim's Hot 100 list in 2007 and 2008.
Wow.
Ranked 42 and 54 respectively. Named the sexiest woman alive by Esquire magazine in 2010. She was secretly engaged to Derek Jeter. And that engagement went public in 2010, but the engagement ended in August 2011. And the other neat kind of fact is that she is the daughter of former Aerosmith guitarist Rick Dufay and Maureen Kelly, who was an exotic, basically a stripper who did a few bit parts on TV in the 80s or 70s.
Was this the Tammy character?
Yeah, Tammy is Minka Kelly plays Tammy. Okay, with that said, let's just cannonball right into this.
Yeah, we might as well.
All right, so the movie opens on Halloween night with a bunch of trick-or-treaters running around, and, nothing happened. It cuts to Jonathan sitting in his kitchen table, and he's carving up a pumpkin. We meet his sister, Lynn, comes in. She's wearing like a pink robe, and they're getting ready for handing out candy. Her boyfriend Alec comes over, who's got devil horns on and dressed in black, and he's just kind of
asshole.
Yeah, he's kind of a douche, a tool, and basically not much happens except they're supposed to go to a party, but Lynn's not ready and says she has to stay around to help Jonathan hand out the candy. I guess it's kind of like family tradition or something like that.
Right.
So Alec goes say, "I got some imported juice for the party," and he pulls out a single bottle of Coors Light.
One bottle of beer. Yeah.
Coors, he's like, "Well, it's from Colorado," so like that's his whole party. Like one beer, all right. It's like a 14-year-old trying to steal beer or something like that,
right?
thinking it's awesome. So Lynn goes off to get ready, and Alec is like just being a complete ass tool. He sprays Jonathan with his one bottle of beer, so he just wasted his beer.
Oh man!
Burps in the guy's face, then grabs a handful of candy and just leaves. He's like, I'm
He like chops up his pumpkin.
he stabs a pumpkin a lot. It's like, this is how you do it.
Right.
Basically, some time passes, and you see somebody dressed in black with black gloves on sneak into the house. Now, Lynn is out in the garage for some reason. I don't even know why at this point.
I'm trying to figure that out too. I think she's trying to come up with a costume.
I guess, but she had costume stuff up in her room on her bed, so I have no idea what she's doing out in the garage. But she's there, and this man in black wearing a creepy pumpkin face mask enters behind her.
Yeah, the mask was pretty good.
The mask is actually pretty darn good. It is kind of creepy and scary. It's like a pumpkin, but kind of like a melted, deformed pumpkin. It's pretty cool mask.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, Alex, stop it!" The man locks the door behind him. And at this point, this scene is almost an exact ripoff of the scene from Scream, the original Scream with Rose McGowan in the garage. It's almost the exact same thing. Ghostface comes in, and she's like, "Haha, oh, Ghostface, you're gonna kill? Oh no!"
Right.
And they get out of my way, ass. And I'm just getting beer. And it's like, and it's the exact same thing here. Like, and Lynn's like, "Oh no, you're gonna kill me, huh?" I was like, I'll get enough out of my way. And of course, he keeps pushing on, pulls out a knife, and starts
slashing at her, chasing her in the garage.
And so eventually starts getting scared.
Right.
And so she screams, they struggle, they fall down. She gets to the door.
It's funny because she like barely pushes him. It looks like that's this like weird kick, and he goes flying into this bunch of boxes.
Yeah.
And he, for some apparent reason, these boxes are like kryptonite to him. He cannot get up out of these empty boxes.
Yeah, I agree with that. So she finally gets the door open. She screams for help. Jonathan here grabs his carving knife and runs to her aid. Pumpkin Face stabs Lynn in the chest, and she falls down. At this point, Jonathan rushes in. He stabs Pumpkin Face in the left eye.
Yeah, which was pretty
Yeah, that was a pretty good stab. And at this point, Lynn's like realizing, "Oh my God, I wasn't stabbed. It was all fake." And she's like, "Oh my God, no, stop, it's fake."
And Jonathan's just going to town on Pumpkin Face, man.
He's just just brutal. He's like, "Yeah!" He's just going crazy. And just so basically just annihilates this guy. And Lynn finally gets him to stop and saying, "It wasn't real. They take the mask off, and it's her boyfriend, Alec, who falls over dead, blood just gushing, just flowing out of his head and all these wounds.
So it's pretty cool. We get a kill like even before the opening credits.
Yeah, because this goes into the opening credits right now, and it's basically a bunch of like news reports and like police crime scene photographs while you have narrators talking over it. And the only weird thing I picked up on during this, and I'm gonna try to remember to come back to this at the end, but they say something about how Alex's blood was odd.
It was a different color.
It was like an odd, like browny, blackish brown, and its color was like thicker than normal. Yeah. So I'm like, that's really weird. So now it jumps 1 year later, totally advanced, and Jonathan and Lynn are driving down a highway out in the middle of nowhere in a white Jeep with no top down.
Right.
And at this point, nothing much happens except there's some talk, chit chat, and you learn that Lynn's trying to set up Jonathan with this girl at the party they're going off to. They talk about how Jonathan's still all messed up from killing Alec, and he's having mental issues with that. During this conversation, it distracts them, and they almost hit this old man on the side of the road who turns to be Ben Wickets. This guy, he was loading pumpkins in the bed of his truck on the side of the road, and they have a conversation on the side of the road. Again, not much goes on here.
A lot of him yelling at
Yeah,
them for
he's
driving.
just the cranky old man,
Yeah.
crotchety and all that.
Yeah.
So eventually they drive off, and they finally arrive at the party, which is being held at a pumpkin patch, again, out in the middle of just nowhere, California somewhere. They start unloading the Jeep, like bags of groceries and coolers and all the stuff for the party. Lynn goes off to get these two guys to help out, which, I hate to even say their names. They're the most annoying.
I know.
Their guys' names are Bone Daddy and Spinner. And I will come back to them. Believe me, I will come back to them.
God.
But while she's gone, Jonathan basically has a hallucination. He freaks out and he starts getting attacked by Alex dressed as the pumpkin face masked killer. And they fight off, and it's just a hallucination.
I
Nothing
just started
happens.
calling him just Pumpkinhead at this point in time because it got.
Yeah, I avoided Pumpkinhead because of the actual movie Pumpkinhead.
I understand.
So
right.
I went Pumpkin
Okay.
Face.
Okay, Pumpkin Face.
But I
Make
also
a note of
understand
that
Pumpkin.
Face.
So while he's picking up all the food he dropped during his hallucination, bring in Tammy,
Right.
Minka Kelly, who she comes in to help him out. They start picking up. They chit chat a bit, and we learn Tammy is basically the girl that Lynn is wanting to set Jonathan up with in the first place. And I will say, this movie is rough. It sucks, but Minka Kelly to me did a really good job in this role. She was just, I don't know if it's her voice or how she does, but to me, I just found her so like adorable and sweet. You just want to give her a
Yeah,
big hug and
right.
like give her a teddy bear or something. Like, I don't know.
Teddy bear.
She's just so sweet and adorable in this movie. So now we meet the most, at least this is my opinion, and for those of you who've seen it, might be wrong, but to me, the most annoying characters in the whole movie and possibly all of cinema.
I agree with that statement.
Bone Daddy
Oh,
and
man,
Spinner.
They were.
Like, these guys are up to with like Jar Jar Binks level annoying to me. Like, I don't know who's worse, Jar Jar or these guys.
They definitely overacted this part.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, and it was hard to watch at times.
These guys are like the two drunk stoner
the burnouts.
burnout guys who
Yeah.
they're dressed in matching togas, and they're so goddamn annoying.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. So Jonathan and Tammy decided, hey, let's go out to the field and pick up some pumpkins to line the stage with, and I think
Just the car.
pumpkin carving contest. They need pumpkins, so they go out there. They pick up some, and Tammy takes a handful back to the stage, to put on the stage, leaving Jonathan behind, who starts hearing voices. And he's seeing Pumpkin face off in the distance while having flashbacks of stabbing Alec.
Right.
And he's freaking out, and he pulls up his shirt, and the words "trick or treat" are now carved into his chest
Stomach or
and
whatever,
stomach.
right.
They're carved onto him. So skip ahead, we get more scenes of Jonathan and Tammy talking, getting to know
Long
each other.
dialogue. Lots of long dialogue in this movie.
Yeah,
Goes
lot
back
of
to like,
filler.
why are we talking? Quit so much talking and just get to the
killing.
killing.
Yeah, there's a lot of
It's a horror movie, right?
Yeah, a lot of build up between Jonathan and Tammy.
We
It's
get
like,
it. They like each other.
Yeah.
Move on.
I totally agree. It's way too much. Tammy's ex, Lance, and his two friends show up. One of the guys' name is AJ, who's dressed as Austin Powers, and the other guy's name I don't know, but he's dressed up as the Hulk.
Who I think secretly has a crush on Tammy, but that was just my opinion.
Who knows? But anyway, they show up and they kind of harass Tammy and Jonathan. Long story short, Jonathan and Lance get into a fight. Jonathan pretty much just gets his ass kicked.
Because he's a big pussy.
Yeah. Again, more time passes. Now the party's in full swing. It's nighttime. There's a live band playing on a stage.
Divine Chaos
Yep.
is the name of this band.
That is. That
And
was the
they-
name of
And
the
they were
band.
actually a highlight. I thought I enjoyed the band.
Did you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and at this point, a ton more people show up. There's a lot of extras in this movie just dancing around and filling out the party goers.
Not as many extras as you would think, in my opinion. But
Not, you're right, not as much, but compared to like the main group, I'm just saying
Right.
there's a lot more that show up.
right.
Now, at this point, it clearly in this dance shot, you see AJ's Austin Powers. Oh, and I should mention there's 3 girls that show up dressed as Charlie's Angels. Rachel, Yolanda, and Vicky. Rachel's the kind of slutty one in the black. Yolanda's the black one in the red, and Vicky's brunette in a blue denim jumpsuit type thing. At this point, AJ, Austin Powers, and slutty angel Rachel. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, right.
There you can
Kinda proud of you
clearly
there.
see them dancing in the front with the band, but this is just I think bad continuity because the camera just pans over to an SUV, and now those same 2 characters are like in the midst of
SUV.
making out.
Or not really even. It was like a weird. Like,
Yeah, but I would just say they went from right there
Right in front of the
teleported
stage to-
into the SUV going at it. So he's like, he's got this camcorder all night, and she's getting like super turned on by him filming her. That's
Right.
like her brother's like, she's like, touch me, oh, keep filming me, touch me, film
it's like
me.
a giant tease to this whole
Yeah,
kind of scene.
she really is.
Oh, good. Touch me. No, wait.
Yeah, and he's
touch
like
me.
trying to
No.
kiss her. And she's like, no, just watch me, just watch it.
Right.
And she kind of goes between her legs for a bit with her hand. And she's like, no, watch me some more. And at this point, he tries to kiss her, and then she just stops. She's like, nope, I'm done. I want. And she's like, nothing more to go with it. I could go on.
She like hits him or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. Either way, he leaves.
He tries to kiss her, and she's like, no, get off me. And she slaps him, and he's like, fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah, right.
Storms out. And so you see like an idea of a few minutes pass, but you don't really know. And then Rachel's like, finally gets out. She gets out of the SUV so she can go find him. And when she doesn't, she gets back in the SUV. And when she does, the words "trick or treat, time to carve something sweet" is written on the front windshield. Now it's not written in blood at all. It's just
Right.
red.
That's what I was trying to figure out too. I don't know if it was like lipstick or if it
like
was
lipstick or
supposed to be
paint.
blood.
Yeah, if it's supposed to be blood, it was bad.
It was
It
real
did not
bad.
look blood.
No.
It looked like lipstick or like paint. So anyway, so she gets attacked from somebody in the back seat. Again, of course, you don't see who because that's the mystery. But she does manage to kind of scramble away, and she's gonna get out by escaping through the tailgate window of this SUV that happens to
Why
be
she doesn't
open.
open the door, we'll never know.
Yeah, but instead, just open the door in front, but she's gonna crawl past the guy.
Yeah.
So basically over him to get out.
She rolls down. Yeah, it's like a big Suburban, right? So she rolls down
The window was
back
already
window.
down.
Right,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, yeah. And she crawls over the killer to get to the window. And in the meantime, he starts rolling up the back window.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's like, I mean, that's the dumbest. Like, you bring up such a perfect point. It's like, just open the door and fall out. But she crawls from the front seat to the back seat to like the trunk area.
Right.
So she's crawling right
right
past the
him.
guy.
I know.
It's,
And like the window's going up all slow. It reminded me of Austin Powers in a way, like when they're on the steamroller.
Oh,
the
yeah,
guys
he's
like,
like,
get out of the way,
"No."
get out of the way.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah,
And all
she
this
makes no
time to like
attempt.
get through the window, but no.
no, so of course she gets trapped by the window by her neck. It's like her neck's pinched in there.
You guys couldn't see that coming.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
So the killer then gets out. He grabs her, and he begins to cut her face with like this square. It's not even a knife. It's like these knives that are like squares. It's like a squared off. They look more like files than.
Yeah, that's
like
what I
than a
thought too.
blade.
That's what I thought too.
But it doesn't look sharp at all. And he starts cutting her across the cheek. And at this point, I actually paused. The makeup is so
bad.
that you can clearly see the prosthetic
Yeah.
that is glued to her face.
And it
That's
looks
all
like-
puffy.
It's
The
almost
left-
like he almost rips it off too.
you would think.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it looks like it's like coming loose from her face
You can
as
see
he's
the
like
edges
cutting.
of it.
Yeah, I know.
And the blood's coming out. So I did, like I've done in the past, I did take a screenshot of this,
Nice.
and I will post it on our Facebook page when I post this live, so you can see what we're talking about. But the shot cuts away before you get to see what else happens. So you don't really see what happened. You just get an idea. You get another filler scene with Tammy and one of Lance's friends dressed as the Hulk, picking up pumpkins in a wheelbarrow and blah blah blah. It's nothing happens.
It's
But
ridiculous.
now old man Ben Wickets shows up and scares Jonathan while he's sitting there carving a pumpkin. And Wickets starts getting really creepy.
Oh man.
And he starts like, I've been watching you, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, come here, Jonathan, I'm going to show you some real carving. And he takes him to like this old, rusty shack place. And there's pumpkins all over the place and like carving knives hanging off the wall. And Wicked's like, carving is my life. And he also states that he founded the town of Carver.
Yeah,
which
like
is the
when I
town
moved here, there's nothing but a dried up riverbed or
Yeah.
something, and like stories of carvers.
Yeah.
Like
It's
weird,
really
man.
weird. But he's like, I founded this town.
Creepy.
So he tells Jonathan, he's like, hey, take one of these knives. Like, take one. And he asks Jonathan if he's ever killed anyone. And then he goes into the story about how Wickets killed his own father.
No, it was some guy broke into the house and killed both his parents.
Oh, that's why I missed that. And he killed that guy then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was like hiding. He was like a little kid, and he was hiding for a couple hours, and come downstairs and found the guy drinking his daddy's sour mash, is how he put it. I think.
Okay.
And then like carved him up, is what he said. Made a big deal about like, oh. But he also said black juice came out of his mouth, which I thought was, kind of referring back to your blood statement.
Yeah, they talk
from
about all this,
earlier,
like,
but
the Wickets is really weird and creepy. He talks all this
really
about this
weird.
black juices inside people and the evil. You got carvers got to carve, and it makes no fucking sense a lot of times. It's really fucking odd.
Done really badly. Could have been better.
So he goes on to say that real carvers have an evil in them, and that they have to carve it out with their blades.
Mm-hmm.
And he even tries to get Jonathan instead. He grabs Jonathan's hand that's holding the knife and like pulls it up to his chest, like, come on, stab me, boys, stab me. And of course he won't. But we cut back to the main group, and they're sitting around a fire. This is so playing a game called Chum.
Was it Chum or was it Chump?
Chum.
Chum?
Chum.
Oh, God.
And basically where they chug bugs from a jar and chase it with beer from a plastic pumpkin.
But it's weird because it's like, you ask a question, and then if you don't get the answer
if
right
you're wrong.
or whatever, you got to eat bugs and then, like you said, chug from this plastic pumpkin. Now, on what planet
Would anybody want to do that?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who comes up with this? Like, hey,
Where
here's an
are we?
idea.
What is going on?
Yeah, it's the worst. It's like truth.
And where do you get a jar full of bugs? I mean, where do
like,
you
who's
even
just
get
carrying,
this?
like, walking around? I got my chum bug in here for some chum jar for the game
I
tonight.
was like, what the hell is this shit?
It's fucking retarded, is what it is. Like,
It is.
nobody would
I
do
agree.
that.
No.
And it's, I could see like your douchey guys sitting around doing it,
Right.
But the girls are involved in this too, and there's I don't know a single girl
gonna
ever
eat
that
bugs.
would consent, I should say,
Right.
to partake in this game.
Agreed.
It's awful. So, meanwhile, Wickets is in his shed. He's sharpening a bunch of his saws, and he sees the Hulk wandering around. I call him Hulk because I don't know his fucking name.
Yeah, I can
So it's this
never
guy
grabbed
dressed
it
as
either.
Hulk, and the Hulk stumbles into one of the barns.
Yeah, the Hulk's like walking off his bug cocktail.
Yeah, he got sick. He's like, I gotta walk it off.
He does it's like the worst. Like he eats the bugs and then drinks and then stands up to like puke, and it's like the worst puke scene too. It's like
so
he just
barely anything comes out. Yeah.
spits.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go lay down.
It is an awful puke thing.
God.
They did not put much into that.
No.
So he's in the barn, and Hulk's in the barn, and you hear this giant drill get turned on, or some piece of farm equipment that looks like it's a big old drill on.
Right.
And it starts spinning around, and Hulk's like, huh, what? He turns around, and he gets charged. The killer just charges him. He's holding up a flashlight, so you can't see it. He's kind of blind.
In his face.
Yeah, and he charges into Hulk, knocking it backwards onto the giant drill. The drill just goes right through his stomach. His intestines are coming out. They're all spinning. They're all tangled up in the drill, spinning around. And
It was actually done pretty well in that part.
yeah, that's one of the better effects in this movie. So it goes back to the party. The band is still playing, rocking on. Tammy goes off to look for Jonathan and ends up in the same barn that Hulk was just killed in.
Mm-hmm.
But now the body is gone.
Body's gone, which good for the killer.
Good for the killer.
That's a big dude.
Yeah. But the intestines are still hanging on the drill, but she doesn't see
notice
that.
it, right?
And so she's creeping through, and suddenly an axe comes flying out of nowhere and sticks into the wall, barely missing her head. And her only reaction is, oh, damn it.
Right.
And she acts like it's her fault.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even wonder where the fuck it came from and who just threw an axe at her head. She just like, oh shit. All right, must have been my fault, and just keeps on going.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
I know. See, I didn't even actually grasp that it was an axe. I mean, I heard something hit. I don't know, but that makes. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's normal, man. That happens every day. Does that ever happen to you, Marshall?
I'm sorry. I guess
Seriously?
I've never had an axe.
That happens at least twice a week to me, man.
Oh.
No, Jesus. Nothing
Anyway,
strange. Move along.
nothing to see here. So as she's sneaking about, Lynn comes around the corner from the other side, and they bump into each other. They have a quick little back and forth, and they separate again. Tammy ends up in the old rusty carving shed where she meets Wicked. She's just sitting in the dark smoking.
Yeah, he's just sitting there like all in the dark, like real creepy.
And creepy, smoking cigarettes. But it's a short scene because John kind of pops in and says and grabs Tammy and takes her away. So it's boring.
Right. More long dialogue between the two.
Yeah, and more dialogue with John and Tammy talking. And this time they're talking about evil spirits. Like, he's asking her if you believe in evil spirits or the afterlife. And she's like, no, I don't believe in any of that. But she takes him to this spot that kind of overlooks the city and shows him all the city lights off in the distance. And she's like, it's so pretty. And yeah, it's boring bullshit conversation. More talking, but they do end up kissing here. So they have their first kiss.
Finally.
Yep. Time passes again. We get some more transition scenes. Time passes. The band is still playing at this point. This band, wow.
Yeah, they're awesome, man. Rock on.
So, and
of
you
course,
get more.
but I don't know how many people are actually paying attention to them. Like, good for them for continuing to play when obviously the whole cast is never.
Again, there were extras there that aren't part of the main group.
True.
And so we get more scenes of John and Tammy talking, blah, blah, blah. At this point, Tammy goes off to talk to Lance. She's like, I need to go take care of Lance to get him to lay off. As soon as she leaves, John hears more voices and starts freaking the fuck out. He starts screaming, and out of nowhere, the pumpkin faces leaps up out of the hay to attack John.
Right.
He backs up against the barn, and all of a sudden, for some reason, like electricity starts coming off the walls and like zapping him all over.
Right.
And it makes no fucking sense what is going on here.
At all.
And then he like magically gets dragged across the ground towards Pumpkin Face and like crucified on the ground and magically like lifted up into the air. So he's now like face to face with Pumpkin Face.
Right.
Which Pumpkin Face like telepathically like cuts Jonathan's face
with his eye or something.
Yeah,
you see the like the right eye like start glowing, and then he has his head twitch.
Yeah, and
then suddenly there's these cuts on Jonathan's face. Like, wow.
Yeah.
This guy's good.
And then and he leans in and he's like in his demonic voice like tells him like he made a deal with hell or something like that. And he's really kind of hard to understand, but I did I made
caught
a deal
that
with
part,
hell.
but I didn't hear what he said.
Yeah.
You know what the deal actually was.
No, main thing is he makes a deal with hell to come back.
Yeah.
And then he disappears. And it seems to be that Jonathan's having another hallucination. Because the cuts aren't there or anything. So we go back to the main group. And they're about to have a pumpkin carving contest with the winner getting a case of beer. Big old case of beer.
Did you see what the name of the beer was?
I did, but I don't remember what it was.
Arrogant Bastard Brew.
Okay, there it is.
I thought that was pretty funny.
And yeah, it's probably real. I'm sure it's real. Some microbrewery somewhere.
Check that out.
So, and this is something out of like an '80s movie almost. It's like the bully and the bully and the geek square off because of course Lance and John are sitting right across from each other. And they have a stare down like they're gonna sell the score over a pumpkin carving contest. So they start the clock, and the basic is they have whoever carves their pumpkin the fastest to look like the sample pumpkin is the winner. And as soon as the whistle goes, Lance picks it. He's like going fast and furious, like, I'm going to kick your ass, Jonathan. And Jonathan just sits there and giving him the stink eye. Like, he's just staring at him like, ugh. And then Tammy's like, you got to go, John, go. And John's like, fuck you. I'm just staring this guy down. He's mad dogging this guy. And then, like, I don't know. Then Jonathan finally picks up his thing, and it's like the flash. Is like, done. Drops the mic or the pumpkin carving blade. And everybody's like, oh my God, he's it's the greatest thing ever. Jonathan wins the pumpkin carving contest. But his victory is short-lived because in comes drunk Ben Wicked, who just smashes the pumpkins all over the place. And he's saying, ain't none of them goddamn carvers, and walks off.
Yeah, I know. It was like the most weird. It was like a weird interaction between all these people and the old man. Because again, he sounds like a drunk bastard just coming like, you know. But it freaks the sluts out, pretty bad to the point where they want to leave. Yeah. I'm like, wow, really? That's what's freaking you out? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The Angels 1 and 2. One was like, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm done. We're leaving. But then they're like, well, you can't leave without Rachel. So, like, fine, fuck. So they go off to basically find Rachel. So Angel 1 and 2, basically, Vicky and Yolanda, just you just say 1 and 2. They're off looking for her, and they come across there's a lot of like old rundown buildings out here on this farm. And this one's like a wooden shack this time. It's all run down, dilapidated. They open the door, and they find Rachel, who's standing there barely alive, and the lower half of her face has just been completely flayed off.
Right.
And just looks like, I guess they're supposed to look like jack-o'-lanterns. Like, it's just completely face gone. She's there. You can tell she's alive. She's blinking. She stumbles out, reaching out for help, like help. She doesn't say anything, but like, reaching out for help. The two girls are backing away, screaming.
They just like
Rachel just falls down to the ground, basically dead. The other two girls run off, like to get help. And
they just leave her friend there bleeding.
So they run off to get the worst help possible in Bone Daddy and Spinner. And God, like I'm not doing them justice because I haven't explained like how bad they are, but God damn, they're bad. Like their dialogue is awful.
It's not even followable. No, you know, we can't even give you guys an example.
No, they're supposed to be the comic relief, but they just make the movie worse, so much worse in my opinion.
Right.
So they get those two guys and they come back, but Rachel's body is gone now, of course. And so you get just incredibly annoying scene with Bone Day spinning two angels. It's just the two guys just being complete asshats and awful, annoying people talking to the girls. Eventually, the scene finally ends, and it cuts back to Tammy asking Lance if he's seen Rachel. And she's like, but, you know, he says, like, no. But she's like, listen, Lance, things are over between us. We're done. Move on.
Right.
Get over it.
Actually, he says nothing to her.
Yeah.
He just, like...
Yeah, he's basically...
right.
Right.
So basically, it's another filler scene.
Yeah.
Not a lot of those.
And it cuts back to the band that's still rocking on.
Out, man.
And at this point, this is like the longest band set ever for this
must
little
have made
party.
some fat money on that party.
I'm like, how many songs do these guys have?
Right.
So Bone Daddy and Spinner are drunk and high, or both. They're out in the pumpkin patch. And there's like, let's get the biggest pumpkin we can find. So Spinner goes out to look for that pumpkin. He goes charging onto the pumpkin patch. Bone Daddy stands up on something, and he starts taking a piss. And at this point, he starts getting stabbed repeatedly in the back, like 3 or 4 times. And he's like, oh. But his reaction is like, did that happen?
Is this happening?
Like, what's going on? Right. He doesn't even turn around. He's like, ow, that hurt. Ow, that hurt. But he just keeps peeing. And then you see his head just gets
whacked off with a sickle.
A big old, this big sickle just cuts his head off.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah. It's Probably mine too. His head lands perfectly on the ground in front of his still peeing body with his mouth open. So basically, what happens is his body is now pissing into his face and into his own mouth.
It's awesome.
It's hilarious. It is one of the best parts of the movie. It's just that alone. You decapitate and then you pee on your own head and face.
That's like one of the best kills I've seen.
Yeah, that's
you know
pretty
what I mean?
good.
I haven't really seen anything quite like that before.
And you know what they say? Like again, you can't really prove it, but they say like once you're beheaded fast enough, it takes your brain time. It doesn't realize it at first,
right.
so you can still kind of see at first. Can you imagine if that having you get your head laid down, you're looking up and you just see your own piss come down in your face. It's the last thing you see is your dick and pee coming on in your mouth as you die.
No.
Anyway, so I love them because Bone Daddy's finally fucking dead.
Yeah.
It cuts to Lynn, who is wandering around by herself looking for other of the group. Now she's looking for everybody. She's and she gets grabbed by Lance out, who at this point he's like tries to force himself on her. He's like, your brother took my girl, I'm going to take you, or something like that. He's basically
that must have been his theory, right?
Yeah. And Lynn, but she manages to slap him and run off. Lance turns around, and as soon as he turns around, he gets stabbed in the chest. And that's it. That's all you see. It goes back to John, who's making his way back to the carving shed. And Tammy now finds the words trick or treat, time to carve something sweet, written on the side of a flatbed trailer. And on the trailer is like pumpkins and like hay barrels and a scarecrow. And blood starts dripping down onto one of the pumpkins on the flatbed, and it's dripping from the scarecrow. She looks up and sees Rachel's body hung up.
Finally find Rachel.
Yeah, and again, her that face is all half gone, blood's dripping down, but she's been dressed up as in the scarecrow clothes.
She held on for a long time.
Yeah,
you know,
she did. Oh, who knows how long she died before? But
she was alive when she came out of the
shed, but we don't know how long. But yeah, who knows? But she held on for a while.
Yeah.
So at this point, Tammy now she gets attacked by Pumpkin Face in the pumpkin patch. She fights him off. She hits him with some wooden beams or something like that, and she gets him to run away. But she runs right into a barbed wire fence while trying to escape it. And she gets all tangled up, and this allows Pumpkin Face to catch up to her and grab her. But you think, oh my god! But again, she manages to get away.
Right.
She's running. She ducks into one of the other old garages to hide, while Pumpkin Face is close behind her. Outside, Lynn has found Rachel's scarecrow, dead Rachel on the scarecrow pole, whatever, and she's flipping out. Tammy makes a run for she's in the garage. Pumpkin Face is looking for her. She's like, fuck it, I'm gonna make a run for her. She takes a run, but she steps into a goddamn bear trap.
Yeah, of all things.
Yeah, of all things. Like,
she's in like a mechanic shed.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see, anything else, but what is a bear trap doing set up inside?
And it's set up, too. It's not like, that's just not safe for whoever works there.
Right. We trying to catch coyotes? Or what's sneaking in there?
Yeah, so she, bam, snaps right on her ankle. She's screaming. Lynn hears the scream and comes running to help. As she runs into the barn, she slips and she sees this blood on the ground and on the walls. And then Lance's body falls from the rafters. It's all tangled up in chains. His lower face has also been flayed off, and his right eye is hanging out of his head. So
it's like his guts all torn open too. Like he didn't just stab him. It's almost like he.
There was some. I forgot to mention that. Good call. Lynn gets up, runs off, but she falls through the floor. The floorboards break, and she falls down. She catches herself, but she's stuck in the floor. Now, at this point, Pumpkin Face mounts Tammy. He's getting on top of her, and he's like pushing. He's got the squared off blade. It doesn't look like a blade at all. And he's like trying to push it down into her chest, and Tammy's fighting it off, and eventually you just see it just like slowly penetrating her chest, like. And just sink down into her, and she's screaming. Lynn climbs out of the hole and enters the garage where Tammy has recently been killed. And she comes in and she sees this soft glowing light coming from inside an old truck.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets closer and she looks inside and we see Tammy's dead body with her face completely carved off and a lit candle sticking out of her mouth.
Right.
And it looks pretty fucking creepy. I
Yeah.
will say that.
I thought they did pretty good with that one.
Yeah, that looked good.
It's like he finally got the pumpkin carving thing right.
Mm-hmm.
Had enough time to actually carve a face.
Which was weird because you would think you'd have more time to carve up Rachel's
Right.
face because she
That's
was
what
the
I was
first
thinking
one.
too. Yeah.
And Tammy like just happened. Like
Right.
she should have been just the half done one.
Agreed.
But anyway, Wickets pops up on the other side of the truck, reaches in through, grabs Lynn arm from the other side. They struggle. He comes around to Lynn's side of the truck, grabs her, and he asks her, has she seen the evil carvings, and to tell her to call out the evil. And we're like, what the fuck is that guy talking about? And at this point, John shows up with a pitchfork, and there's a standoff. And Wickets is like, if you're going to kill me with that, you better use a blade because he's a carver.
Right.
We're both carvers. You use a blade. And he gets even more weird and cryptic. Oh, God. Do you remember half this shit? Because
No,
it's like stuff about a
I really
carver is
don't.
always a
I'm
carver.
trying to help you out here, but I can't. I couldn't follow it. It was so hard to follow.
It's retardedly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting there. I'm like, we got my pen and paper. I'm trying to take notes. I'm like, I can't even like focus and like even.
I
Like,
did the same
hardly
thing.
take
Like I
notes
don't
on
know
this
how to
movie.
even write this
I
down.
know,
What
I
he's
know.
saying.
Right.
He's saying, but carvers will always remember his first carve, and that if a carver has to cut out the evil, and you and I are both it's a carve. It's like every other word's carve or carver.
Cryptic is like the best word you could have used there. You
Yeah.
know, because it's like hidden meaning shit. You didn't really. I guess only a carver could understand what he was talking about.
So Lynn basically says, John, hold him here. I'm going to go call for the police. So
Right.
she runs off. While they're gone, Wickets and John do end up struggling a bit. And Wickets kind of gets the upper hand. And he says, by killing John, his hands will be washed forever.
Mm-hmm.
Will be washed clean forever. And he tries to stab John, again, with this square blade. It looks more like a fucking file. and he also says, death must die. Which is what?
Death must die.
Yeah. And there's a flash of lightning, and then Wickets suddenly turns into Pumpkin Face. So now you have Pumpkin Face and John fighting.
Mm-hmm.
John grabs this old board with nails sticking out of it and hits it upside Pumpkin Face's head. The nails get stuck in his head.
Stuck in his head, yeah.
And he pulls the nails and the board out of his head, and he suddenly becomes fucking Raiden. Because he shoots goddamn lightning out of his blade or the file or whatever it is he's holding. Yeah. He's shooting lightning now, which hits Jonathan and like lifts him up to the ceiling and pins him there. So he's pinned up against the ceiling by all this lightning. Which, like, what is happening? What is going on? This makes no sense whatsoever.
Big Trouble in Little China shit right there.
Yes, exactly. The lightning stops. John falls on the hood of the truck. He looks and he sees Tammy's mutilated face with the candle.
Right.
And Pumpkin Face pulls off the mask to reveal it's Alec, who's kind of bloody.
No eye.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to kill you, or I've come back, blah, blah, blah. Lynn comes up from behind Alec and stabs him with something. I don't know if it's a pitchfork or not. Who knows? You don't really see. You just see him get stabbed. And John just takes her. He once again, just like the beginning, he starts brutally stabbing Alec over and over, just going apeshit crazy on this guy. And afterwards, he's like, see, it's done. I told you it was him. I told you he came back. And Lynn's like, no, it's not him, John. It's not him. And he looks back, and it's now Wickets who's dead up against the truck.
Right.
Not Alec or Pumpkin Face.
Again, it was like hard for me to follow. I don't know if they're trying to say that.
We're going to get into the theory of what's... We'll save that, because I have definitely discussing that. So, more time passes. The sun comes up, and now there's cops on the scene. The cops really basically just let Lynn and John go. This is where you meet Tony Little, who has like one line or something like that.
Look at all this work. They did good work. Like, the evidence bags were like so horrible.
Like all these murders, like they have 2 evidence bags. That's it. And the cops let him go. Lynn and John go. They get back into Lynn's Jeep, which, by the way, is a completely different Jeep than what they showed up in.
Like they showed up with no top.
They show up in what would have been a soft top, but they had no top.
Well, the doors were, it looked like it could have been like hard top. Either way.
But yeah, this
it had
is
no
like
top. This had a hard top on it.
Hard
Where
top.
the fuck did this hard top come from?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they're so completely different Jeep now. Lynn says, okay.
Yes, that's what we're making a big deal about, too, by the way. I mean, that's how bad this movie is.
Lynn tells him it's all over. It's over. We're done. But she pulls back like a blanket or a jacket and finds a carved pumpkin underneath there. And she's like, what the fuck is this, Jonathan?
Right.
Well, how dare you? Like, why do you get upset with a pumpkin? I don't know.
I don't get it
But
either.
Jonathan holds up then the squared off blade, which is bloody, and he starts freaking out.
Well, it's
he
like
starts screaming and twitching and shaking.
Yeah, it
and
starts contorting.
and you hear like the sounds like bones popping and breaking.
again, it's like a really long, like, okay, we get it, you know, but
Yeah,
they
it
take
goes
like
on with-
5 or 10 minutes, it seems like, for him to
It
like.
seems like it's probably like 2 minutes, but it's still way
It
too
felt
long.
like forever.
Yeah, and he's like crack, crack, snap, crackle, pop, you know, all this stuff.
Right.
And you see like a shot of the rear, the visor mirror, that flip down visor mirror. It looks up and basically you see Alex's reflection, and it goes back to Jonathan, who's twitching some more, and Jonathan turns into Alec now, and he's like, aha, trick or treater or something like that. Lynn's like, screaming, and just he kills Lynn. Roll credits.
Credits, right.
Now, during the credits, there's some little snippet of scenes of just a close up of Alex head, and he's just like taunting the audience. He's saying stupid shit like, "Where are you going? You're not leaving. Trick or treat. Are you saving me?" It's really stupid. So that is Pumpkin Karver. Let us go into favorite kills.
There can be only one. Favorite kill?
Oh man, it's got to be. Do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, we're probably gonna have the same agreement here, but
yeah,
go ahead.
I mean, it's got to be. What was his name? Oh, Bo Daddy. Bo Daddy. The pissing on your own face. I mean, you get your head cut off and you end up pissing on your own face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would. Yeah, of course, that's mine too. That's just original. I mean, the fact I hate that goddamn character.
I know.
When we see him
It
die,
was so rewarding to see him die.
It was.
And then that way,
I've
it
never
was
seen
just
pissing on your own faces.
Because I wanted to piss on him myself.
So there you have consensus. Favorite kill, Bone Daddy.
Close second would have been the Hulk, but
see, my close second, even though it wasn't really graphic, would have been Tammy. Because she was so sweet and adorable, and I felt so bad for her because it went in so slow. You're just like, oh God, no, not her, not her, no.
I was confused when that was happening because I was like, is she really dying? Right
Yeah, at first I'm like, oh, she's gonna get saved. No, she's not. Wait, she's gonna get saved. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh shit, she's not gonna get saved.
No, I know.
Fuck.
Like, really? Okay.
So yeah, Pam, just because it was to me the one character I actually cared about.
Yeah.
Everybody else I fucking
like two shits.
hated. Yeah.
Right.
So all right, that brings us to odds and ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
All right, we start off odds and ends with our ratings. IMDb gives it a 3.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 0 score, no score on the thermometer, but a 16% audience score. So
16%.
pretty low.
Yeah.
And then good old Amazon with a solid, as always, 3 out of 5.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
ridiculous.
understand.
I don't get it
Amazon.
either. I don't either.
Plot keywords. I only wrote down one for this. There were several, but they're pumpkin, blade, car, blah blah blah. Nothing fancy. The one that I wrote down, which I just thought was just weird, was bad parents.
Bad parents.
Which doesn't even come up. It's like, how is that even in this movie?
Yeah, I guess we're supposed to believe that they're underage, right?
Are they? Because Lynn is obviously of age.
But
Jonathan,
Spinner makes a comment like at the outhouse because the two Charlie's Angels wanted to call the police.
Yeah. Now,
He's
I
like,
don't know if
underage and booze. No.
I'm thinking maybe some of the other partygoers were underage.
Maybe.
But I think the main cast all seemed of age.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know either.
And I don't know if it's
That's
bad
weird.
parent because they do make a comment that Jonathan's dad left, just up and
disappeared.
left. But at the same time, it's like you never see the parents. It's not like it's like
Right.
just such a weird thing and
I know.
useless. Like
It is
why would
weird.
put that on the list?
don't
Bad
know.
parents.
Okay.
So anyway, moving into our trivia and a little research stuff, I find this movie, several scenes of this movie were shot 2 years apart.
Really?
That's a long time.
So it's set on the shelf then.
Yeah, or they had to go back and reshoot stuff, but 2 years.
Wow.
The actor Jared Show was a last-minute replacement for another actor who quit 2 days prior to the shooting of the movie.
This movie sucks.
I'm out.
Involved.
Probably the smartest thing that actor
Yeah,
ever did.
right.
This is gross if this really is true. The bugs in the chum scene, chum, whatever it is, were real bugs apparently. And they did kind of look like if someone would stick to their face. They look like crickets or something.
That's the only thing I could think of. Maybe
So
crickets.
they were eating real bugs. That's
Nice.
disgusting. Alex Weed and David Phillips ad-libbed a lot of their dialogue. Now, those are the two douchebags that played Bone Daddy and Spinner. They should have stuck to the script because, God, I wanted to fucking shoot you both.
Yes.
Hated them. The director, Robert Mann, did the voice of the DJ on the radio.
Huh.
The opening credit montage was shot in Robert Mann's house. Tammy running into a barbed wire fence was inspired by Holocaust photos of people who had run into barbed wire.
What?
That's kind of disturbing.
That is weird.
That's like,
Why would you even put that? Why would you even bring that up?
I don't. The climactic confrontation between Jonathan and Ben Ricketts was originally supposed to take place outside. For some reason, it did not happen. Don't know why. Director Robert Mann was the voice of the Pumpkin Killer, so he's the one who's doing all the weird demonic stuff you can barely understand.
Mm-hmm.
And the last two, Lance was originally going to get gutted when he was killed, but had to be changed to just Lance being stabbed due to lack of time to shoot the full murder scene. But that explains why then when he falls from the Raptors, you see more than just a stab wound.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Geez, they ran out of time.
Yeah. Which, over 2 years, I don't know how it ran out of time. 2 fucking years. And lastly, Robert Mann's girlfriend, Amy Cowison, doubled for Minka Kelly in some of the long shots of Tammy's carved up body because Minka Kelly wasn't available on the days of the shoots. And that girlfriend, Amy Cowison, was also in the movie. She was the go-go dancer, one of the extras that walked up with near the beginning of the movie. Okay, so that does it for that. Next, that brings us to everyone's favorite part of the show. We're going to play Guess the Budget.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's now time to play everyone's favorite game. Guess the budget.
And what do you think is the budget for this movie?
If they spent more than... Yeah, I think I'm gonna do Aaron proud and shoot my load, even saying 20 grand, because I mean, I was saying, you didn't really see a whole lot of extras. It's like they filmed it, like especially during the band scenes, to where it was like you were just looking at the stage. You couldn't tell who was there, who wasn't. Right. I don't think there was more than like 20, 30 people total in this whole project. Everything was real. I'm gonna say 20 grand. That's my final answer.
Are you prepared to have your mind blown?
Okay.
Estimated budget, $1 million.
No way. No way.
Yeah.
On what?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. On what? I guess maybe Minka Kelly's
catering
salary.
Yeah, maybe. $1 million.
$1 million for this.
There is no way.
That's what that's what the numbers say.
Okay, somebody pocketed some
Blew
change
my
on
mind
this.
too. Like, holy shit!
Because there wasn't even really that many. You said that most of it was shot in Robert Mann's house in the beginning.
Well, the beginning of it was his house, but the rest of it was all this.
The rest of
farm.
it was just one location. It wasn't even like they had to jump around.
No, but who knows? Like I said, they had to pay salaries. I'm maybe to get Minka Kelly voted sexiest woman of the year in 2010 was probably asking for some money.
I guess.
But who knows?
Well, I am bad at this game. I am bad.
Don't worry, you're not the only one. Moving on to
1 million
5-star reviews.
These special movies have a place in these special people's hearts. 5-star reviews.
Now, there are a few of them here. I wrote down, I think,
There's
4 or
no
5.
way.
Oh, yeah. So, from Kashia, cool movie, plays good, 5 stars. From Candace Robertson, loved it, 5 stars.
Oh, who are these people?
Yeah. Sue in New York. This movie is part of my classic horror flicks.
What?
It has a decent plot and typical classic horror acting. The simplicity is what makes it so great and sends chills down your spine. Perfect for that Halloween fright. A plus 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 5 stars.
The acting was horrible, and I will say that in a lot of horror movies.
I see. Yeah. Some people were okay.
Yeah.
Most were bad. Again, Mika Kelly, I will keep saying, I will give her, she is the best in this movie by far. Maybe followed by Lynn, Amy Weber, who plays Lynn. Everybody else just sucks a dick.
Big time.
Okay. Last 2. PK in LA. The Pumpkin Karver is a cult indie film classic. It belongs in a punk rock cult film collection and turned on during a Halloween party. The soundtrack is great. It's authentic, dirty LA rock at its best. The acting is pretty terrible, but yet compelling, and the storyline is there. The ironic combo is what makes the film 5 stars. I don't even know what that means.
Well, I would say, what was the name of that band again? Oh yeah, Divine Chaos
Yeah. If
was
that's-
the highlight of the movie, and apparently this dude feels
But
the
that
same
wasn't
way.
even like their real name.
No, but
But
that was
yeah.
the name of the band in the movie. But then they rocked
I
it.
don't understand
If they were even
what
actually playing,
They
I
mean
don't know.
by the ironic combo, and I just
Ironic combo.
yeah, I don't understand what this means at all. And a punk rock cult film collection, I don't know. It's fucking whatever.
I think they were a punk band, but yeah, I don't get what he's talking about.
I don't get what he's trying to say. Yeah. So last one from Tom Mallard. For the movie itself, I give 2 stars at best. It is not particularly scary. The plot is very subpar, and most of the acting is just god awful.
Yeah.
With that said, there are 3 saving graces: a creepy old man who takes an absurd amount of pride in his ability to carve pumpkins, and the 2 greatest. This is what makes me
Seriously.
sick. The 2 greatest frat party guys characters ever I have seen in any horror movie. Bone Daddy and Spinner. Their names alone are great enough to rank them highly in this category. But from the very outset, they make it clear that they are only interested in booze, drugs, and maybe sex. Although they may prefer each other to any female characters in this movie.
I would agree with that.
These 2 are a constant source of intentional and unintentional humor. Spinner's escape leads me to believe that perhaps the directors will make the greatest decision of their lives and make the Pumpkin Karver 2 Spinner's Revenge, full of partying and Bone Daddy revering. 5 stars. What the fuck, Tom?
Yeah, right.
Those
had
are
me
the worst
in the beginning there, Tom. You had me. I was with you. I was on page. 2
Oh my
stars.
God.
Really? You're gonna start? Okay, you're
That's
an idiot.
awful.
You are an idiot.
Yeah. But let's dive into, because let's talk about this.
Okay.
Because we got to figure out what the hell happens to this movie, because it doesn't make sense.
No.
And the plot is, it's a plot, I guess.
I guess, right?
But who's the killer here?
That's what I'm trying to figure out too. We made a comment about the black blood.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that supposed to be evil itself, just in these people?
Yeah. You don't know.
Right.
They never do a good job of coming back to it and clearing it up.
Right. Exactly.
And then,
Alec made a deal with Hell, which we don't exactly know what the deal was, but just for him to come back and go after Jonathan. Is
yeah.
that the deal?
But again, every time you see him, they're Jonathan's hallucinations.
Right.
And even when at the big fight scene, when Wickets turns into him, he goes back to Wickets.
So is he actually? Is Wickets actually turning into Alec, or is it just Jonathan's
hallucinating that he's fighting Alec
right,
again?
Right.
That's what I thought it was. And then, so who was the killer the whole time? Was it Wickets going around killing everybody, carving up?
I don't know.
Was it Jonathan? Which I don't think you could. I'm not watching this again to see if that makes sense.
No.
But you don't.
I can't. I never want to see this movie again. Well, at the very end, when Jonathan turns into
Alec. Yeah.
You almost got to assume that Jonathan's the evil, and he's the one going around killing everybody.
Yeah, but
That's the
he's
way I kinda
possessed
took-
by Alec.
Yeah, is that the deal? Like these hallucinations, just him fighting with himself?
Yeah, you don't know. I don't fucking understand this.
I don't
at all.
either, man. I don't
Or is
either.
Alec going around possessing people? Because there's
You
what's
picked
that
a
movie,
doozy, that's for sure.
There's a movie back in like the '90s with John Goodman and Denzel Washington, like The
Okay.
Fallen or something like that, where like the demon where they kept jumping bodies. You know what I'm talking? I don't know if you ever saw it, but people out there will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If it was something like that, is Alec jumping from body to body to live on, like making people?
That
I don't fucking know what.
plausible.
I have no idea what happened to this movie.
I don't either.
It makes no sense.
People keep
whatsoever.
dying, and we know we know Pumpkin Face.
Yeah.
I guess we don't ever actually see him kill anybody, do we?
Yeah, you don't.
I guess Tammy
Yeah, you see Pumpkin Face, but again, is that
is.
who is it? Is it Wickets? Is it Jonathan killing her in a
I'd put my chips on
blind
Jonathan.
rage?
Jonathan's just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and
So then, is Wickets actually the good guy trying to protect
I think he's.
Lynn at the end, and Jonathan comes in
I think so.
killing him? Like,
I think he's trying to kill the evil to clear his conscience
yeah,
of something.
I don't. I don't know. If anybody out there actually ever watched this movie and you
Can
have a
help us
theory
out.
on it,
Yeah.
please drop us a line on our Facebook page, send us an email through our website.
Please do, because
And I'd love to hear your theories of what happens in this movie because we can't figure it out. So, lastly, recommendations. Chris, So Bad It's Good, So Bad It's Scary.
oh, dude, so bad it's scary.
I
I mean, within the first 20 minutes, I already had that written down. I was like, this is rough.
Oh man. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Even though I loved Minka Kelly in this, she's
Yeah.
adorable. She's pretty.
There were a few good kills, which
Yeah,
was
there's a few good kills, but
satisfying and
overall,
not worth
it's
the.
it's so bad it's scary. It's
I'm
not
never getting
worth,
that hour and a half back.
Yeah,
I'm never getting
it's
it
not
back.
worth the watch. Maybe if you can find clips of it on YouTube and just watch the kill scenes, that might be your best bet. But skip this movie
Yeah, altogether.
and move on. That's gonna bring it to the end. I will say, with Halloween coming up, we do have a few special things planned.
Nice.
There is I have a big movie picked out for our Halloween episode, and I think I might drop a few hints as what that movie might be on our Facebook page. So maybe if you want to play along and if you can guess what the movie is, maybe we'll give you a shout out on that episode, just to get a little interaction going. So I think we'll wrap it up from here. So remember, follow us on Facebook, follow us on our website, horriblehorrorpodcast.com. We're on Twitter at So Bad It's Scary. We're on Podbean, and of course you can find us and download us for free on iTunes. So that's going to do it for us. Chris, any closing words?
I have nothing to add to this piece of shit. Thanks for having me again.
Always a pleasure
fun.
to have you here. I think I got nothing to say. Either this movie's fucking awful, skip it. I'm gonna
I didn't even need boobs.
yeah, and there's no boobs in it either. But I'm gonna go crazy if I try to figure out how this thing actually ends or what happens. So that's
Let us
it.
know. Let us know what you think.
Mic drop. We're out. Peace.
Later.